Okay, hello. I guess we're getting started. The camera's ready. So welcome to Question and Answer Tuesday. I am Dr. Leslie Pasco, the lifestyle dentist, where my goal is to get your practice to work for you rather than you working for it. Now, there is something that I want to talk about first before we jump into the question and answers, because it's the whole idea of question and answers and the whole concept of knowledge and security and being confident in what you do. Hi, Dan. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. So the first thing that I want to read to you comes from this book. It's called The Problems of Work. I use this book like a Bible. I refer to it all the time for just about anything and everything that I do. Hi there. Thanks for joining. For just about anything and everything that I do in relationship to not just my business life, but my personal life as well. Okay, so this comes from a chapter. It is one of the first chapters. It is the first chapter. It's called On What Does Holding a Job Depend? And there's a whole bunch of stuff that L. Ron Hubbard says in here, but then there's this point that I want to refer to because this is all about knowledge and being able to be knowledgeable in something. So it says here, all right, work security then is important, but security itself is an understanding. Insecurity is unknownness. So not knowing about something makes you feel insecure in what you're doing. And I notice when I'm part of Facebook forums like the office managers Facebook pages or the dentistry Facebook pages where all these questions and people commenting and trying to answer these questions exist, these questions come from an area of unknownness. It's something that someone doesn't know and they're searching for the answers. And that's why I wanted to include this as the start of my question and answer session this week, because I want you to know that it's okay that you don't know something. And it's totally okay to find out about what it is that you don't know. And that is exactly why I have this question and answer session every Tuesday at 12 o'clock noon. It says further, when one is insecure, he simply doesn't know. He is not sure. Men who know are secure. Men who don't know believe in luck. Look, I've never believed in just luck. Nothing happens by chance. Everything is self-created. Everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly, you yourself have had some sort of participation in creating. And it comes from your knowledge. When you don't know something and you try to do something that you don't know, the outcome doesn't come out quite the same as you doing something that you know about. Hi, Claire. Thanks for joining. Hi, Kevin. Thanks. Oh, look at all these great people. Thanks for joining, guys. So it's really important that when you do something that you don't know about to recognize that the outcome may not be quite what you thought it was going to be, okay? You can't do something if you don't know it. You can't do it right if you don't know it. But then the answer to not knowing something is to get that knowledge so that you can actually do whatever it is in your job and in your position better than if you didn't know. One is made insecure by not knowing whether or not he is going to be sacked. Thus he worries, and so it is with all insecurity. Insecurity exists in the absence of knowledge. That's exactly what it says right there. It's all in capitals. You can see it. Insecurity exists in the absence of knowledge. So at that point, I would like to thank all of you for sending in your questions and recognizing, because it takes a lot to admit that you don't know something. And I want to just acknowledge you guys for being willing to acknowledge that there's something that you don't know. It's okay. And so I want to thank you guys for sending in these questions, because I want to help you and I can't help you if I don't know what you need help with. Okay. All right. So with that, let's just jump right into the question and answer session. Okay. Okay. The first question that I have here is from Sue. Sue says, how do you handle predeterminations and follow up with those predeterminations in the office? What is the time frame for a turnaround on it? Okay, so this is a good question. The first thing that I'm going to say here is I haven't filed a predetermination of benefits to an insurance company for the last 17 years. None of my offices file a predetermination of benefits unless it's a newly acquired office and they don't know my policy just yet. Predetermination of benefits are really just a stall tactic by the insurance company to take more time in evaluating the situation and put more time into paying of the claim. So here's the thought, okay? If you send a predetermination to the insurance company, and for those of you, by the way, who are patients who are watching this, I mean, we're all patients somewhere along the line. Let me just tell you something. The predetermination of benefits means absolutely nothing. Your dentist can send, you can send a predetermination of benefits into the insurance company. The insurance company can say, oh yeah, we're going to do that, no problem. Of course, they're just going to give you an answer that you want to hear. But when it comes time to actually submitting the actual claim for the work that was done, they can change their mind on that at any time that they want. A predetermination of benefits is not set in stone, and that's why, hi Teresa, hi Billy, thanks for joining, and that's why I don't file predetermination of benefits anymore. Because a predetermination of benefits is a stall tactic. It's the way that the insurance company puts more time between you doctors and the patients and the health care that the patient needs. And what they're hoping for, the insurance companies are hoping for the two of you to forget about each other, the doctor and the patient relationship to kind of break down over that time and forget about what was needed in the first place. Maybe the pain goes away. Maybe it doesn't seem so necessary anymore. And so then the insurance company doesn't have to pay out at all. Remember that the insurance companies are owned by big business people, investors on Wall Street and funds and all these kinds of groups. These are insurance is a business. Insurance isn't healthcare. And that's what's really important for you doctors, staff, and patients who are watching to understand that insurance is not healthcare. Insurance is strictly just business. And those businesses will do whatever it takes to not pay out their money so they can hold that money in their big fat bank account for an extra 5, 10, 30, 60, 90 days so they can continue to make the interest off that big fat wad of money that's sitting in their bank account. So when you look at how you're going to treat your patients, my policy always is the patient comes first. It's not that I don't want to utilize the insurance company for my patients, because believe me, I do. That $1,000, $1,500 that you patients get is the same $1,000, $1,500 that people got 45 years ago. I don't want the insurance companies to continue to rip you off and to continue to rip doctors off. I want you to get your full benefit, but I'm also not going to sacrifice the patient's health just because of the insurance company. So doctors and Sue, what I'm going to tell you is don't worry about the predetermination of benefits. Just do what's right for the patient. There is no time turnaround. Just expect, if you do send a predetermination of benefit for whatever reason, just expect it to take a long time. Anything with the insurance company takes a long time because they're delaying the payment. That's just the way the setup is. Now that said, I am not an attorney, and I am certainly not someone that works for the insurance company. I certainly did not create the contract that you doctors have signed with the insurance company. So that said, make sure you read through your contract and make sure that if it says that it's mandatory to submit a predetermination of benefits, then submit the predetermination of benefits. That said, don't assume that it's mandatory, because they want you to believe it's mandatory, but I'm going to tell you, in most cases, it is not. In fact, I have even called insurance companies myself, and I have tried to get an exact answer on if it's absolutely required to actually submit and file a predetermination of benefits. And what I get is, hi guys, hi Michael, thanks for joining. And Patrick, thank you too, okay? And so I've actually asked the insurance company, is it required that I file a predetermination of benefits? And the answer I get is, well, you know, it's highly recommended. Okay, well, highly recommended is very different than being required. Again, read through your contracts and see, don't just assume, you know, you got to know this stuff. Again, if I go back to what I was saying, right? Knowledge is power. It gives you that security. It gives you that confidence. So look through. I know, oh my gosh, I don't even want to think about reading one of those, you know, PPO contracts that we sign. But, you know, I don't know, grab a glass of wine, muscle through it, just see what it says. Most doctors just sign their name on the dotted line. Oh yeah, this is what I got to do. I got to participate with the insurance companies. And they never actually really look at what is there in front of them on those contracts. So Sue, I hope that helps. That's probably way more than what you were asking for. I'm very passionate about this and how the insurance companies are ruining our profession as dentists. So, you know, if you ask me, you're going to get the real answer. That's just the way it's going to be. Okay. All right. Let's go to the next question. Let me keep myself in order here because I have lists of these. I'm going to check this one off. Okay. This comes from DD. DD says, what do you do when a confirmed patient hasn't shown up? Well, okay, I want to answer this question, but before I answer the question, I want to kind of go back to the beginning of what is a confirmed patient. Let's just discuss what that means first. A confirmed patient is not someone that you left a message on their voicemail or sent them a text message and you haven't heard back. That's not a confirmed appointment. In my practice, a confirmed appointment is someone that has specifically contacted you back to let you know that they're coming. If you haven't received communication back from the patient saying that they will be there, to me, that is not a confirmed appointment. And if you have all your ducks in a row and your office is really on point right from the beginning, okay, you will have no trouble confirming appointments. If there is enough communication in the office, enough importance put on the visits that are coming up, whether it's the hygiene visit, the visit with the doctor, you shouldn't have any problem confirming appointments. But if you do have a confirmed appointment, someone that you have now spoken to, but still doesn't show up, chances are something went wrong somewhere. Either they had an emergency, something came up, they forgot. I mean, I've forgotten. I mean, I teach this. And there's times that I have forgotten that I have a hair appointment or a chiro appointment or something like that. And then last minute I realize, oh my gosh, I have this appointment I have to go to. Yesterday I had a lunch meeting scheduled and I almost forgot about it. Now in my favor, I did just arrive back home at 6 a.m. in the morning, flying in from California, a presentation I was given, and I was probably still half asleep. But you know, sometimes people just forget. It's okay. So first of all, you can't take this defensive or offensive type of attitude. I guess it's more offensive type of attitude when a patient doesn't show up. I mean, I don't know, just call them up and find out if they're okay, find out what happened. Chances are they're probably going to be very apologetic and feel bad. Now, if it's a repeat offender, then you have to have a conversation with the patient about that. And it should be a nice conversation. Like, you know, this has happened several times before. What can we do to help make it better so that you actually show up for your appointments? Because our goal here is to get you healthy. And if you're not here, we can't get you healthy. We don't make house calls. So what can we do? Okay, so that's what I would suggest is, you know, go back to the beginning of what confirmed really is, define confirmed in your practice, and then as a group, stress the importance in a very nice, friendly way of why the patient should be coming to their appointment so that they can actually get healthy. And then just if someone still isn't showing up and they've been confirmed, just talk to them, you know, reach out, get into communication with them and find out what happened and why they weren't there. Okay. All right. Very good. Let's move on to the next question. Oh, this is a good one. Okay, so this is good. I know that looking at the list of people who are watching, there's some people that are watching that are in the dental profession, some who are not. So this is good for anybody and everybody to know because this is a confusion that's going on out there in the dental industry. This is from AS, and AS says, I have been asked by my dentist boss to waive the patient's portion of the insurance payment. I get mixed comments on this from others in the dental industry. Is this allowed or is it not? Do I have to bill it? Okay, so let me just explain what this is. So when a dentist participates with an insurance company, they sign a contract that agrees to the insurance company's lowered fees. So if you have an insurance plan that tells you what dentist you can go see or gives you a list of dentists that you can choose from, that's called a participating provider organization. And that organization is where your dental insurance is coming through, okay? So that means that that dentist that you're seeing has contracted with the insurance company to see you as a patient at a lower cost, paid to the dentist, paid to the doctor. Not a lower cost to you patients, but a lower cost to the dentist. So what that means is if the dentist's normal fee for something is say $1,000, and the dentist has now contracted with the insurance company. Hi, Angela, thanks for joining. If the dentist has contracted with the insurance company, then that means that the dentist is not taking their full fee of $1,000. They're most likely taking a fee of about $650, maybe maximum $700. They're usually cutting the fee at least by a third, in some cases 50%. Okay, so when you go see your dentist who's participating with an insurance company and you think it's expensive patients, I'm telling you, the dentist is actually giving you a major discount by participating with your insurance. And in fact, the dentist is probably not making very much income off of your services. Okay, it might seem that way to you patients, but I'm telling you, when a dentist contracts with the insurance company, they're getting paid a lot less. And for any of you dentists watching, yeah, you're probably like, hallelujah, someone's really saying the truth, because it is the truth and patients don't know this, okay? Now, what happens is dentists feel that the market is competitive. Hi, Stephanie, good, thanks for joining. Oh, I miss you. Anyway, so what most patients don't realize is that when a dentist is contracted with an insurance company, they're required to take your payment amount that you still owe. It's a requirement, it's legal. Like, it is actually considered illegal to write off or to waive the patient's portion. But because dentists feel that the market is so competitive and that they have to kind of amass these patients and they want to win the patients over, what dentists do is they start to do things that are illegal, and they start to waive the patient's portion. And so patients, let me give you an example of how this works. If the fee is $1,000, the insurance company says the doctor can charge $700. The patient's portion is 50%, and the insurance is going to pay 50%. So that means the insurance is going to pay $350. The patient needs to pay $350. What some dentists do to actually try to win the patient over, or to be in good standing or create good relationships with the patient, and just to avoid the conversation of money, is they waive that $350 that the patient is supposed to pay. Now, for those of you who are not dentists and who are in business, you're probably scratching your head going, okay, so the dentist is getting paid $350 for something they should be getting paid $1,000 for? How does a dentist stay in business? Exactly. That's why dentists don't pay themselves half the time. That's why dentists have to cut down on their staff or their hours, or take shortcuts some way or another. I'm not going to get into that, but that happens. And this is what patients don't know, and they don't understand this. So in this question you're asking, you're being asked by your doctor to waive the patient's portion. That's actually illegal. You can't do that. The dentist has contracted with the insurance company. If they're contracted with the insurance company, they have agreed to take a lower fee, and they have also agreed that the patient needs to pay their portion. Now, if you're not contracted with the insurance company and you have no relationship there, I don't know, that's just completely up to the dentist, what the dentist wants to charge and how they want to charge it and when they want to charge it. But if you're contracted with the insurance company, which the majority of dentists are, then you have to follow the rules, and the patient has to pay their portion. And so when that portion becomes due, the right thing to tell the patient is, this is the amount that's been determined that you need to pay by your insurance company. Okay, because that is exactly the truth. Okay, you do have to bill it, AS. You have to actually put it on the claim, the entire charge that you're serving. Now, let's just say the dentist is going to do this crown at no charge at all for the patient for whatever reason. Well, then you do have to bill the crown out, but you have to put it at $0, so it is recorded with the insurance company. So that you do have to record. But if you bill the crown out for the $1,000, and then the patient, and then the insurance company's fee is $700, and it's determined that the patient is supposed to pay $350, if you waive that $350, you are actually committing insurance fraud. And patients, you might think, oh, this is great. I've never had to pay anything at the dentist before. Well, you've been being trained wrong. And this is a big part that I want to actually include in this answer, because dentists out there, if you're waiving the participating, if you're waiving the patient's portion, you're training patients to believe that their insurance company covers everything, or their insurance covers everything, when in truth it doesn't. And now when that patient goes to another office who's practicing correctly and honestly and not doing anything illegal, then the patient thinks there's something wrong with us. The patient thinks Well, I never had to pay anything before. My dentist never collected anything. I had the same insurance plan. Why didn't I ever have to pay before? Well, do you see what's happening there? It's not good for our industry. Look, honesty is the best policy. I've always lived my life that way. And sometimes maybe, I don't know, maybe it's too much. Maybe I just say what I think. I'm not going to sugarcoat it or beat around the bush. Honesty is really just the best policy. When you do the right thing, the right things happen. Okay. When you do the right thing for your patients, the right treatment, the treatment that they deserve, not the patients, not the treatment that the patients or that the insurance companies want you to do. I'm going to tell you, income is not a problem. Money just follows. Just do the right thing and everything else just comes together. Okay. All right. Oh, I don't like questions like that, but it's the truth. It's really the truth. Okay, so here's the next question. This comes from MS. MS says this: I am from Chicago area, and lately the demographics have changed, and my office income is going down. I have had to cut down on staff as well as stop sending out my direct mail pieces. Are there any other areas that you can advise I cut back on? Okay. MS, I don't know. I'm sorry. You might not like me for saying this, but I actually just got a text message just a couple weeks ago from a client in Chicago, a client with a group that I work with, and she told me, she was actually, I got to tell you this is a cute story. And I just love her so much. She really didn't have any money. She wasn't paying herself. And she was in a pretty rough spot, both personally and financially and in her business too. She took a chance. She signed up for our seminars. She came down to Florida. She did these seminars. She's in Chicago, okay? She just sent me a text message a couple weeks ago that she had her highest ever in new patients, collections, and productions in her practice. So I'm just gonna say, MS, your demographics aren't changing. Something has changed in your office. Maybe you're participating with the insurance companies, whereas before you were not. Maybe you've run into a patient who made you feel bad for helping them, and so you're helping less patients. I'm not sure what's going on in the office, but I can tell you it's not the demographics of Chicago, because there's a lot of dentists who are doing very well in Chicago. That's first things first, okay? So if you want to talk about that on a more personal, like one-on-one type basis, just private message me over Facebook and I'd be happy to talk to you about that more in depth. But as far as cutting things down, I'm sorry that you had to cut back, or you felt you had to cut back on the staff. That's never a good place to be. I never like to do that. It's a very tough position to be in. I've been there before, so I understand, both on giving and receiving ends. But one thing I do want to, sometimes it has to happen, and I understand, but I want to talk about this stopping to send out direct mail. That's actually a really big no-no. The answer to your financial problems is not to cut back, but to actually make more money. Any financial situation that you find yourself in, if you're not making what you want to be making, you don't make more by cutting your expenses. You actually make more by increasing those expenses on the things that matter most. And your promotion, your direct mail, your marketing is what matters the most, because that's what's going to bring the new business in. Now, I understand it's already been done, and what you're probably going to experience now is probably another lower level of income. The income's probably going to go down again, so just be prepared for that. But let's see if we can interfere with that immediately. And here's what I'm going to suggest you do, MS. If things are tight, either the staff member that you had to let go, if you were on good terms, maybe bring that person back. And I would put somebody on calling in the patients that haven't been in a while to start filling in the schedule, so that you can start looking in the patient's mouths and you can start finding their problems and start fixing those problems for them right away. When you do that, you're doing the right thing for your patients. You're having more patients come in. There's more activity in the office. The staff are happier. The more they're productive, the happier they are. That's just a rule of thumb. And, then you have the opportunity to actually help your patients. And I'm telling you, I don't know how to put any more emphasis on this, but this is why I have been so successful in my career as a dentist and have been able to accomplish the things that I have been able to accomplish, is because I always do what's right for the patient. I don't worry about the patient's finances. I don't worry about the patient's insurance. I don't worry about that they need a new roof on their house. What I worry about is their mouth and them being healthy. And I always go for the right thing. And I've always been successful in that, just because when you do the right thing, the income just follows. You've got to do this, MS. You've got to get your patients in. You've got to start talking to them about the conditions in their mouth, what's going on, how they're going to fix it, and you need to get them to say yes. I know that that's hard, and I know that you've probably been beat down several times. Patients are rough. For you patients who are watching, I'm just letting you know, sometimes you guys are rough on us. We look inside your mouth and we find things that need to be fixed, and you think that we're after your money. We're not. We're doing our job, you know? So don't give your dentist a hard time when they tell you that you need something done, because you do. And we take it very personal, and I'm sure MS, this is probably part of the problem. I think that you're the doctor. It doesn't say here for sure, but you probably experienced, actually sitting down in front of a patient, caring about them, wanting to help them, get them better, and then they shoot you down. And then the next patient shoots you down, and the next patient shoots you down. And then maybe once in a while, the blind squirrel gets a nut. Maybe sometimes one patient says yes, but it hurts. It hurts when your patients reject you. I understand. I was there. For the first, few years of my career, I didn't know, right? If we go back to this, let me just bring this back up, what I was saying. I hope I can find it again. Here it is. I didn't know how to handle people. I didn't know how to handle their objections. And that's what it says here. Insecurity exists in the absence of knowledge, right? Insecurity exists in the absence of knowledge. Can you see that there? Right? That's from that book, The Problems of Work, that I told you is like my Bible, right? I was insecure in approaching patients and telling them what needed to be done because I didn't know how to. And probably in this situation, you have fallen into the same trap, and you don't have the knowledge, and that's what you need to get. You need to get the knowledge of how to talk and handle and manage people so that your patients say yes, so that you don't have these downtrends in your office. Because I'm going to tell you, it's not Chicago. I was just there a couple weeks ago. That place is booming. I mean, it's crazy the amount of growth what a beautiful city. It's not the demographics. It's really what's happening inside your practice. And that's a big pill to swallow. And MS, I'm sorry that I'm kind of shoving that pill down your throat, but it really is the truth. I have seen it so many times, and I have experienced it myself as well. So I'd like to end on a good note, because gosh, that was so rough, and it breaks my heart when I hear things like that, because gosh, I know how it feels. I know how that pain and that loss feels, and it's my mission. My mission in life is to stop that pain and to stop those bad feelings that you get. Dentists, you guys are really the cream of the crop in healthcare. You're at the top, not the bottom. It's time to start it's time to stop being the brunt of bad jokes. Oh, you didn't make it to dental school, or you're an anti-dentite, or, and the brunt of bad movies about us. You were not always portrayed well. It's time to start standing up and really letting the world know, and our patients know, just how deserving we really are and how much we actually contribute to the healthcare industry. And that's never going to happen unless you actually get the knowledge and the security to know how to discuss that with people and really help your patients for good. In order to get your practice to work for you rather than you working for it, you really got to be on top of your game. You got to know how to handle and communicate with people. You got to be honest and ethical and straight and right. And you got to do what's right from the beginning. Okay. Thank you guys for all your questions. I hope that helps this week. Thank you guys, everybody who's joined and everybody who's watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram. You'll get to see all the real cool places I go and the great things that I'm part of, the speaking presentations that I do. Don't forget to, you can also, if you have something that you want me to come and speak at, I can come and speak at your event. I can speak at your study club, anything like that. Also, don't forget to check out The Lifestyle Dentist on iTunes. It's my podcast show. Great show about lots of different things in dentistry. In fact, there's going to be one that's coming out about your professional image and why it's important to have a professional portrait of yourself that represents you and your practice. There's going to be some great information on that. You don't want to miss it. Thanks again, guys, for joining, and I will see you on Monday. Monday is Motivation Monday. Don't forget about that too. All right, see you next time. Thanks, everyone.